Release the Kraken!
Welcome back, fellow game designers. In our last video, we went ahead and made some planes to use for our hair. And in this one, we're going to go ahead and attach the hair. So let's dive right in. I'm going to get the back of the head here. I don't really need the rest of this for now. So I'll grab those. I'll hit H to hide. I'll get the back of the hair. This is going to be Jill 23. And then I'm going to go to my XGen tab, make sure that I open that up. We'll create a new description. And this is going to be hair underscore neck. And then I'll do this one as Jill collection. So the collection is the main group that all the hairs go into, and then the description is the type of hair. So we're doing the back of the neck and the back of the head. I'm probably going to separate those into two different groups, but it's okay. We'll do this as it is, and I'll just set this to placing guides, and then everything else is fine. We'll hit create. Bam. And I'm going to dive right in. I'll grab my placing guide here. It's a little hair with the plus sign. And I'll go to the back of the neck. And Jill has some hair that kind of flows down, so I'm going to go and just start kind of about here. And I'll just place a guide, and I'll do a couple of these. How many got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll do 6. You see how I kind of lost my position here? So if you ever do that, just hold Control and just click and drag, and you can move these wherever you like. Control, click, drag. And it's okay if they're not perfect. You don't really want your hair to be symmetrical anyway. If you have hair that's symmetrical, it looks CG. So having a little bit of variation is fine. And all I'm going to do with these is I'm going to hit R to scale. And let me go ahead and scroll down. Let's get my Jill collection here. I'll open that up. Get my hair on the neck. Open that up. And you can see these are the guides we just placed. And if I hit preview, here's some hairs. I'm going to grab my guides, and if we go to our primitives up here, there is, if I scroll up to here, there is a length slider, so I can make these longer if I want, but it's actually more convenient to just scale these. So I'm going to go set this to 1, and I will bump up the width because we're going to need that. So I'll do these as 2 to make those wider. It's kind of trippy. They like to face the camera. But I'll grab the guides here. Get my scale tool, and I'll just scale these a bit longer. About there's good. And I'll hit refresh on the eyeball, and now I have those. Yay. Now, this does create a lot of hair, but you'll see as we go, having a lot of hair in the beginning can be kind of a pain in the butt. We don't want to do that. I mean, you can. You're more than welcome to do what you like, but I'm going to dial that down. I'm also going to change my CV count. So the CVs, that's the control vertices that allow us to like flex the hair. The more that we have, the more flexible the hair is. So I'm going to bump that to 10. And then I'm going to scroll on up. And instead of doing the random placement here, I'm going to come down to at guide location. And there we go. So now we have some hairs specifically at the guides that we placed. And now we get to choose how those are going to be shaped. So I'm going to go get my sculpting brush here. It's 2 little hairs with this little cross. I'll get that. Make sure I'm saving as I go because XGen will crash. And all I'm going to do is grab a hair and kind of pull it in the direction I want it to be in. And I can just pull it against the neck here. Whoops. Sometimes it's picky. That's cool. Go around the head and just kind of do that. Pull these where I want them to be. And again, these don't have to be perfect. We just want to shape it roughly to how our hair is. And our hair looks like it's pretty, out this way anyway. Just pull this one. It's pretty good. And then this guy, I'll pull this down. So now we have those in place, and you can see how as I'm moving around, these guys are kind of like floating. If I just hit refresh, we'll see where those are going to be at. But these are facing the camera, so that's not really ideal either. Now, this is where you kind of get to choose if you want to add more guides here, which isn't too big of a deal. You just add them. I'll go and hit the little clear button here, and I'll get my guides. And if I want to add another guide in between here, I just click, and Maya will add it. And look at that, it already fits the shape. I can just add these in. And then we can preview it and see how that goes. Like this one's nice against the neck. This one way over here isn't just close enough. So I'll just control click to move it. Control click to move that one. Refresh. And I'm just filling in the spaces here. Use my adjustment brush. And you'll notice that if you have a guide that is selected, I can't really get anybody else. So if you come in here and just kind of control click to deselect, now I can get whatever one. Okay. Now you can, of course, continue up and make some more. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to show you how to make these ones, and then we'll go up. The reason we're starting at the bottom is hair tends to layer. So the bottom stack of the hair is underneath the top stack of the hair. If you ever look at how hair looks, that's how it's layered, right? The bottom is here and the top's here. And then there's another stack and then another stack. If we start at the top, it's a lot harder to put the hair underneath. So you start at the bottom and it's easier to go on top. There are a few techniques. If you've watched the Leon one, you saw that I generated geometry straight from my curves. In this one, I'm actually going to be using a different technique. So I'm going to come up to, so I grab my guides here, like this. So I'm going to come over here, go to Utilities, and then come down to Guides to Curves. Go ahead and click that. I'm going to set this to Hide, and then I will hit Create Curves. And now we have a group of curves down here. So if I open this up, we have some curves. Okay. So what this is going to allow us to do is I can use these curves to create the geometry that I need for the back of the hair. So I'll go up to, make sure you have these selected, by the way. Go up to Create, and then come down to Sweep Mesh, hit the box here. Now you have some options. You can have a single node that controls all of your curves at the same time, or you can create an individual node for each curve and you have individual control over each curve. It's up to you how you want to do this. I prefer having individual control because you never know what you have to tweak for one particular hair. So I'm going to go ahead and do one node for each, and then I'll hit Apply. And now I have some general geometry produced for those hairs. And check this out. If I go over here, we can see that we have some polygon options. And if I grab one of these tubes, for example, make sure I go to the Sweep Mesh Collector or Creator, and I can create a tube. I can make some square geometry. I can make a line, which is basically a hair card. I can create an arc. I can create, a zigzag. I'm going to come over. I'm going to do an arc, and I like the way this arc is looking. It's pretty good. I probably don't need that much control, so I'm going to dial it down to maybe 2. And then you can have this as high as you like, by the way. I'm just picking 2. I'll take the angle down on this to be mostly flat. Let's make this, how about 90? That's probably good. And then I can come down to the Align option. I'll hit that. That way it's almost exactly on the curve. You can play with the offset if you need to. So the offset will shift one way or another, or up and down. I don't need either of those. And then down here, we have a scale profile. You can scale this as you need. I'm going to bump this up to maybe 1.5. Looks like I can go bigger, maybe 2. I like that. And then rotation. I can always change the rotation of this so that it's more toward the camera here or there or whatever. And you can see this tries to adjust based on the other hair, which is kind of cool. There's also a taper option, so I can adjust the taper at the end if you want to. Now, it's not recommended to taper this too much because you can distort the hair that we're generating. So I'll leave that up to you, but really that's probably better to not. If we take a look at the UVs here, these are pretty square, which is what we want. So as long as we're not messing up our UVs, we're probably okay with our taper. Okay, just make sure we're not going too heavy on the taper there. So maybe like that. Twist, you have an option to twist the hair. If you like making a ponytail or something, you can definitely do that. I'm going to leave the twist off because I don't need it for right now. Precision, this is how many slices are in this. So if I dial this back up, you can see I can put extra cuts in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll do 8. 8's plenty. Okay. And that gives me enough flexibility on that. And I can do this for all of the other ones as well. So I'll grab this one, and it's the same process. I pick my arc, I do my settings and whatnot. And you can see why doing this individually can be kind of a pain. There's not really a quick way of doing it. Now I can try collecting all of these and trying at, a single selection. But you can see it only really grabs the last one. So you gotta kind of pick your battles. So with this guy, I'll get my arc, I'll set it down to 2. I'll align it. I'll do my angle at about 90. Let's see, the scale profile of 2. I'm just going to copy that value over. I'll adjust the rotation of that. Taper, I will get the same kind of taper, whatever that is. Plug that into there. And I'll continue down the line this way. Make sure I set the alignment for each one of these. Get my taper value. And then my number of subdivisions, I'll go get that. Okay, so I've got all those. I'll go ahead and just arrange all these so they're oriented the way that I want them to be around the head. So there's where my rotation comes in. I'll kind of adjust this. And I do have to go around, one at a time to make sure it's facing the camera the correct way. And there's some of my hairs placed. And then one of the nice things about doing it this way is each one of these has a controller. So this curve here, if I right click and go to control vertices, I can select the control vertex and I can manipulate how this hair is. So I still have some live features on the creation of these things, which is pretty handy if you need to do some updates. Okay, so now we have the back of the neck, kind of like right here. And what we can do off of this is I can grab all these, and these should all have UVs laid out already. So I'll grab all of them, open up the UV panel, just go to UVs real quick. There they all are. What we need to do is create the hair material. So I'm going to go into object selection. Let's grab all of them. Come here, you. Let's grab these sweep meshes over here. Grab all of them. I'll go to rendering. I'll make a blend. This is going to be the hair material. So hair matte. And I will plug in the hair that we created in the last video. So that's going to be in my images folder. We'll do that called hair render, and I want the albedo. And actually, I'm going to grab the alpha for this, just so it's easier to see, because the albedo is difficult to see. But I'll grab all of them. Let's blow this up, and we'll get face selection. I'll grab these, scale it down, and scale it up so it fits. It's important we don't clip any of the edges. We want to make sure we have plenty of room on this. And then we can pick where this is going to sit. So maybe this one is over here. We get a couple of these, you know, mixed around. And this is why you want to make different hairstyles. That way you have hair for like the back of the neck, the sides of the head. You have thicker hair in some places, thinner hair in others. You have the little wisps, or the flyaways as they call them. So you have a few different varieties, usually about 6 to 10 different variations. And yeah, so let's make a few of them, and then I'll just move out, and you can see how the hair is going to rest. Awesome. I'm going to continue setting up the material, so go to object mode. Let's go to the hair material. I'm going to change this one out for the albedo now, so albedo. I'll hit the little arrow, I'll come back, I'll get my, let me go ahead and just grab the address here, Control-C. Hit the arrow, come back, we'll get the transparency, and I'll just paste that in, and I'll grab the alpha. So there's some hair there. Hit the arrow, come back down, let's get the specular. Paste that in, and I'll change that to spec. And now we have some hair. Look at that. And you can take a look and see if you need more or less hair. You can make these wider if you need to. You can make more curves if you want. And what you can do here, check this out. Let's say I want to add another hair. I can grab this curve. So let me turn... so go ahead and just grab a curve out of here. Sure. If I like that curve, I can Control D to duplicate the curve. And then I can, let me go ahead and turn wireframe on shaded real quick. Wireframe on shaded. This is going to show me places I can snap this curve to. And if I hold down V, I can snap it like over here-ish. And then I can rotate it into position to where I want that curve to be. Make adjustments to it, and then off of this I can generate another sweep mesh. So I can do create sweep mesh and get in my parameters for that. Bam, there's another one, and I can do my setup and continue on. I'm not going to make another one at this particular time just because I want to make sure I get through the video and we can do the back of the head here. But that's just another way that you can do it, and you can just duplicate this. The meshes here. So like, let's say you don't care about adjusting these, you can always just duplicate the meshes. Control D. Get the move tool. So W. Let's get polygons here, and we'll get the center pivot. And suddenly we have extra hairs, and we can just move these around. Now, if we duplicate these, we no longer have the ability to adjust them with that spline. There's new entities. But you can very quickly map out where this hair is going to go, and you can make some variety and kind of work up the back of the head here. Okay, so you just pick your battles where they come, and of course I can always make these wider. I can scale them, you know, just to fill in some spaces. And it's a very quick way of just getting some variety to the hair and doing something kind of neat. So there we go. So now I have some of the hair on the back of the neck, and I can repeat this process for up here. So you have a choice. You can duplicate the splines and relay the splines around the back of the head. You can do it in XGen, or you can do it by using these, right? I'm gonna go ahead and just make the rest of these using XGen. Okay, so let's go ahead and save. I'll grab this, I'll go into my XGen profile, and let's turn on my hair. So I'll grab these guys, and I'll hit H to unhide them. So those are down here. Let's go ahead and go and get some new guides. And I'll layer these up here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can see that one and that one caught the other ones just because they were close enough, and I just picked them up, which is pretty cool. What's kind of lame is I have to grab those ones though. So I'll go back. Let's see. I can get them on this list. So these guys. I'm using Control to click that. I can scale these out however long I want them to be, and then I can position them however I want. So let's get my Xgen tools. Get my brush. I'll just pull these into position. And you can see that by doing it this way, we can layer the hair. I'll just scale it a little bit more so it matches. Right? And I don't have to stop here. I can actually continue on up. And what I'll do is I'll go in between here just to get this close. And I'll Control click and move it up. And then Control click and move it up. Get the length, Control click, move it up. Sometimes it doesn't want to go, so I just pick a spot that gets me their correct length, and I'll just move it. I like to move it, move it. You can see these ones aren't coming out very well. So those ones I'll just redo. And I'll get these ones while I'm at it. Yay. Let's go ahead and scale these out however long you want them to be. And then I'll just pull them in position. Okay, let's say we have all of these and we're happy with their placement and position. I can then go back in and select the guides that I care to generate geometry from. So let's say those are the guides I want, and I'll create guides to curves here. Hit create. Now I have my curves. Those are down here inside of this group. You can save those. With these selected, I can generate the sweep mesh. And this time I'm going to show you how to do a single node for all. So I'll hit apply. And now I have a single node. And if I adjust, it adjusts everybody. And if I do, I'll change the angle to about 90-ish. I'll drop this down to 2. I'll set alignment so they're a little bit tighter. I'll adjust the scale profile. What I do 2, I think. And you can see how it gets them kind of relative to each other, which is really nice. But I don't have any individual control. So like I can go and manipulate the individual splines, but I don't have a lot of control over the individual planes. So it's a bit of a trade-off, but you can see this is faster than doing it individually. So you gotta pick what you want really. And then I'll set my taper. What do I do? Like, it was like 5 something. Okay. Rotation. It looks like their rotations are pretty good. I don't think I'm gonna really mess with that. If I play with it, you can see what I can do. But I think 0 actually came out well. It basically did an average across the model, which was fine. And then down here for precision, it was like 86 something. 8675309. Yeah, there we go. So we've got all those. And I think we're good here. The next thing to do is to just generate the the UVs for those. So I'll get the new sweeps. So this guy all the way up through. Okay, I think I got all the ones that I need. And if you miss one, you can always just generate them later. I'm going to open up the UV editor. I'm going to get one of these guys. And I'll also get, try to get one that's in a different position here. There we go. So now I have two different UV sets that I can work off of. And the reason I did that is I want to have the big one over here. So I get face selection, and I'll just kind of grab that. And I'll get the one in the middle like that. Just move that off. So I want the big one here, but I also want to know where they're going to go. And I can grab them individually, or I can grab them as groups. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to shape this down so it fits one of these profiles here. And adjust it up, make sure it fits on there. And then you, as the artist, get to pick which ones go where. So maybe this one is here, that one is there. I could do every other one, I could mix it up, it doesn't really matter. Remember that each one of these is a different hair position. Hair today, gone tomorrow. Okay, so I'll lay those out. Go to object mode, and I'll make sure I get all those. And then I will assign existing material. I'll send them the hair material. And here's some of the hair, very, very quickly laid out. You can see there's some gaps that you can kind of go in and fill in. I'll let you handle that. But this is a very quick way of applying some of the hair texture. And the next one, we're going to go ahead and start doing the sides of the head. Okay, so save your work, stay tuned, make sure you fill in the gaps, and I shall see you next time. Hey guys, thanks for checking out my channel. Misty and I both thank you. If you enjoyed that video you just watched, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, there's Lame Duck Studios merch. Grab yourself a cool hat, sweater. You can always check out my Patreon, where you can get access to exclusive content just for my patrons, as well as videos ad-free ahead of time. Or pick up one of my books. The Life and Times of Dinah Marton is about a criminal psychologist who moonlights as a serial killer, and The Guardian's Path of Ascension is about 5 teens who realize they have the power of gods and have to save the universe. Both of those are available on Amazon. There are links down in the description. And The Guardians is going to be converted into a comic book. I'm working with my artist Patrick. We're pretty excited. We're shooting for an October release. You can see some of the work that's been done here. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time.